recording.
Okay, I am ready. The meeting is being recorded for everyone to know.
December
10th, 2025.
All right, then I'm gonna call this meeting back to order. From our closed session, and when we get, or actually, probably do the pledge of allegiance first. Roll call, sorry.
President Dowling,
Present.
Vice President Bell,
Here.
Treasurer Pruitt, here.
Yay!
Director Thompson, here. Director Foster.
here.
All right, good. Now can we all please rise for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then, did we do public comment again?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So and then we'll report on open session, huh?
Closed sessions now.
Do the closed session now and then go. Okay, that's one. So to report out of closed session. The board has completed the employee evaluation. And that is all there is to be said on that.
Position,
What's that?
mentioned as the general managers.
Oh, and it was the general manager. All right, and then now moving into public comment. Members of the public may provide comments to the board on items that are not on the agenda. We welcome and encourage your comments as the board takes them into consideration in our deliberations. Speakers are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. The board may not respond to, discuss, or engage in any type of dialogue regarding any public comment. However, the president may direct questions to staff for later response or future consideration by the board. Appropriate and respectful language and behavior is vital to the functioning of a public meeting. We ask the board, staff, and members of the public to speak courteously and respectfully. Therefore, the board prohibits disruptive behavior. Any public comment? No, okay.
I have one.
Oh, there's one on there. I forget that thing's gone.
Hi, I was just wondering where we're at with having the board meetings in the fire board building.
Yeah, it's public comment. I can't answer you on that one, Sue, but we can probably get something out or direct that to Hank. And but obviously it's not there today. So.
Well, it was months ago you said you were on top of it, Chase, and it's been about a year now. So I'm just curious as to when something's gonna happen on that.
Appreciate it. Any other public comment? No?
None.
No, okay.
Sorry.
All right. Moving along. Consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are routine in nature and may be approved by one motion. So we have approval of tonight's agenda, approval of November 12th minutes, and receive and compile the combined financial report for October 2025.
Well, I'm gonna just pull mine off if it's, let's see, what number is it? It's, let me see, the one that I have on 2000. I just,
Well, do we want to just leave the minutes and that way we can just approve the whole thing and we can skip it when we get there?
oh, sure,
Do that.
that's good too. I didn't know I could do that.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
I second it.
Oh, Diane seconds it. Sure, let Diane have it. All in favor? Aye. No opposed? Moving right along. Operation action items, presentation of the annual financial report with independent auditors report for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. Recommendation action, receive and file the annual financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. Oh, there's a TV.
Yeah, she's gonna give probably a.
I've never even noticed that TV.
Turned off on. I know she might sleep.
Was that TV always been there?
Oh, well, since we've been here.
Oh, yeah, I've never even noticed it sitting there. Oh, we don't. Oh, okay.
A volume, huh?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me back here to present to you your 2025 fiscal year end financial results. We prepared a very brief presentation for you. Lots of words. Don't worry about the words. I just wanted to point out, again, a reminder of what does LSL do for you? For those of you who may not remember me, my name is Kelly Telford. I'm the partner on this engagement. I've been working with you and your team for a number of years now, almost 3 years. We've been working through a number of fiscal years. We are completing our third fiscal year end close and presenting to you those financials. But we really are an extension of your team. We are not like your auditors where we're independent, we're totally separate. We work day to day with your team to make sure your bills get paid, your people get paid. And even tonight on your agenda where you just approved, there was the October monthly financials. We also prepare those for you as well. Our basic scope of work is making sure that we process your accounts payable. We maintain all of your accounting records related to that. I mentioned making sure your people get paid, but the most important part of what we do is make sure that we maintain really good internal controls to make sure that the district's assets are always protected, particularly protected from fraud. We also do your year-end close. As a government agency, you have some pretty unique standards that you're required to comply with. I also oversee our commercial accounting services practice, which is what most of our, the general public will know as accounting. Government's just different. It's really different and it's a lot more complex. So we maintain your accounting records every single day in compliance with those government standards. And then we do a very unique year-end close to make sure that we're audit ready. Your auditors, Rams, came in and they really do pull samples of all of your transactions to make sure we're doing our job and would certainly point out to you anything that needed to be addressed. We have multiple layers of review in place. I mentioned the internal controls. We operate all of our accounting services, even on the commercial side, at a fractional level. And what that means is you have a fraction of an accountant who does all of the day-to-day, what you would think of as bookkeeping. She's making sure that the transactions are recorded. She's making sure your AP and your payroll is getting processed. She's working through unique transactions with your team to make sure they're accounted for correctly. And then she's producing your monthly financials. All of that work is being reviewed by another fractional level, which is your fractional accounting manager, supervisor manager level. And that person will review and make sure Jennifer's not missing anything and make sure that all of the information coming from your internal team is reliable and reasonable. And then we have a third level of review, which is a fractional finance manager, finance director level. All of our engagements are built this way, which is why we really pride ourselves on quality internal control. That's number one for us. That is something that your auditors actually dive into a lot during the audit. We, during the last year, have done a number of improvements. We migrated from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online. Seems pretty easy because it's all QuickBooks, right? Vastly different systems. Very vastly different systems. In my opinion, QuickBooks Online is a big improvement. It allows us to have multiple users in the software with unique IDs. So we can now track who's doing the transaction processing. We can track changes. In QuickBooks Desktop, we couldn't do that. We all had a single login, single file that was utilized, which made it really challenging. If something changed, we didn't know why it changed or who changed it. And we do. We've also worked with your team on a number of different things, migrating the investment portfolio, some of the unique things that we'll go through with the year-end close. There was a new GASB implementation this year. It was a pretty heavy lift for most government agencies. And we fully took care of that for you. As far as your 24-25 financial audit, we completed the audit on November 10th. We received an unmodified opinion, fancy term for clean. It's the best opinion you can get, means that those financial statements can be relied upon for decisions by both you and your investors, the users of those financial statements. They also issued a communication letter, we call it an internal control letter, but it's a very canned letter, the version that you guys got, because they had no recommendations. There was nothing that came to their knowledge that looked odd or internal control deficiencies that they thought needed to be addressed to protect the organization. It was a very cookie cutter letter, which tells me my team has finally gotten to a point where we are good. We've got on-time financial statements coming out monthly. We've got on-time year-end close and delivery of your ACFR by the required deadline, 12/31. And I'd like to even, I haven't talked about this with Frank, but with Hank, but I'd like to consider having your ACFR submitted for the GFOA award. Because I think that's one of those distinguishing factors that really amplifies, and it's ready. We always produce ready ACFRs. So I think next year, that's one enhancement that I would recommend. Yes,
I
sir.
didn't quite hear you and what you said. What is this you're talking about?
So in the government finance world, we have ways, there's award programs, both for our budget and for our ACFR, where we can submit them for considered a peer review. I review other cities, counties, ACFRs to make sure they're compliant with all of the GASBs. There's a really thick checklist that we go through. But you can submit for this award through both CSMFO, which is the California agency, and through GFOA, which is the national agency. Getting that award of distinguishment means you had it independently review that your financial statement meet the GASB guidelines. And there's an award issued every year if you get it. Like I said, we produce award-ready ACFRs. So I'd love for you guys to go for that. I mean, we could certainly consider that in 2025, but I'd love for you to consider that for 2026. I mentioned that we implemented a few new GASBs. GASB 101 was required to be implemented. Yes, sir. You're good. You're totally good.
Well, you got a bunch of acronyms up there that some of us may not be familiar with. To me, it looks like you're gasping for breath. Right, you're gasping for breath.
If the ACFR is the new one, it used to be, now it's ACFR is a whole thing. So GASB is the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. Our counterpart is the FASB. So large companies, right? Southern California Edison, or any of your major corporations are required to follow FASB standards. That's the commercial. GASB is just an accounting framework that we are all required to follow, so that if we pull your financial statements, the accounting methodologies and the reporting in the financials is consistent with another water district similar to yours. That's really, it's a guideline, a framework. But that means all agencies had to implement this new framework for compensated absences. Now that framework changed our calculations. Compensated absences are things like sick leave, vacation leave. It's the accruals that your employees earn every pay period to be able to take future leave. It even includes comp time is included in compensated absences. And before, we only had to include vacation. For I'd say 99.9% of organizations, sick leave doesn't get paid out when an employee leaves an agency, but vacation does. It was easy. We would calculate the dollar value of accrued vacation at the end of the year and book it as a liability. But the standards changed. Now they say for sick leave, I'm gonna use Hank as my example, pick on Hank for a minute. Hank has 100 hours of sick leave. Well, if Hank leaves tomorrow, he's not getting that paid out. However, If he doesn't leave tomorrow, he's almost guaranteed that he's gonna take sick leave at some point in the future during his employment. So we now have to figure out how much of that 100 hours Hank is likely to take in sick leave from now until the time he does leave. That's a pretty interesting calculation. So we had to build a framework around that ourselves, not just for you, for all of our clients, and not just for our accounting clients, but all of our audit clients as well. So we implemented that standard for you, changed your liability a little bit, but not a ton. But it was not without, a little bit of additional hours. You probably saw that in a small increase in the invoices for the year-end close. But it was fully taken care of. We were able to get the information that we needed out of the payroll system, and we're good to go going forward. There was another disclosures, GASB, didn't impact you this year. This is related to certain, mostly, risk disclosures. At this point, there's nothing we had to change, but it's now on our radar so that if it does become applicable to you, we'll make sure that it gets into your financial statement. Any questions?
Oh, can you give me an example? What do you mean by risk disclosures? Like example of what?
Sure, so it's not what we think of like an insurance risk. Some of it is more economic risk. If you have a single revenue stream that you're heavily reliant on,
Mhm.
we need to do certain disclosures of the likelihood of you losing that revenue stream. Most of the time, this is applicable to cities, sometimes counties. I will tell you, I have a very, very tiny Texas client, Marfa, Texas. You might have heard of it, Marfa Lights. Anyway, they, believe it or not, middle of nowhere, very, very tiny town in the desert, heavily dependent on tourism. They happen to be right outside of a really large and very popular state park in Texas. We will likely do a disclosure for them on their reliance on the occupancy tax.
Oh, okay.
Because it is such a large volume. That's the kind of risk disclosure. It's more of an organizational risk, not a liability. That's why it didn't apply. And most of our water districts aren't impacted. Let's talk a little bit about financials. We had a positive increase in our net position. What does that mean? We earned more money than we spent. It means our fund balance, our equity went up. That's a good thing. Revenues went up 5.9% to 2.8 million, You can see we're kind of in the tens of thousands with the differential there. So, we were, what's that, about $40,000 difference. 5.9% increase in water sales and a decrease to expenses of 6.7. So we're pretty good there. Your current assets increased by 646. Now, some of this is due to seeing positive returns in some of those investment changes that were made. Assessment district number 2 has been running a deficit. It improved a little bit. But this is expected to happen as the debt declines, as those bonds are repaid off. And then I mentioned GASB 101, that's that compensated absences, $44,000 impact. Not too big. It's also one of those things, what I really don't like about what's happening in our world, in my world, from a GASB perspective. Nobody cares. Because the reality is, Hank was always taking sick leave. We were always accounting for it. This just put the possibility of him using that on the balance sheet. It ended up, we're working with GASB on some of their priorities. Because the industry has kind of been upended the last few years because of the impacts of some of these. Yes, financials are technically more accurate, but it's not providing a real benefit to all of you by having that there. So I just wanted to give you that impact. Looking ahead, another pretty decent sized GASB coming up. Another new standard we're going to be required to implement. And it will impact the district It impacts all of our water districts more, any of our special districts, more than like a city. The financial reporting model will change. This is the basis for the structure of your financial statements. It's particularly gonna change operating income and expenses compared to non-operating income and expenses. It recategorizes some of it. It also changes quite a bit of the schedules that are in the financials. We do expect this one to be a bit technical. We'll work with the auditors on it. Not numbers, you're not gonna have a change in the numbers on your financials. It's more how the presentation, that word, presentation, you right on the nose. GASB 104. This is another one that has to be implemented. Very, very small impact because it's a correction. We had it right to begin with, so I don't expect any changes there. Ongoing operational improvements. We are continuing to improve our month-end close. And this isn't just for Forest Hill, this is unilaterally across my team. When we implemented this new process in September, so it was October, but for your September close, we are now focused for all of our organizations on conducting a complete year-end, complete month-end close with a structured month-end close checklist that has all of the appropriate sign-offs and is done without fail, and completing your monthly financial statements within 30 days of the close of the month. What that means is your September financials are issued by October 30th. Your October financials, maybe with a little give, because I'm not mean and allow my employees to have a Thanksgiving, ballpark November 30th. We're creating consistency. We're also creating that internal control so that we know your auditors feel confident that we are always reconciling your accounts. We are always making sure that they're done timely so that if something were to happen, we're gonna see it. We're also working with district staff to support transparency and more consistent reporting. And then, of course, we did submit a proposal for the finance manager position, and we really do look forward to working with the district on an ongoing basis. We've really enjoyed our relationship. I know my team works really hard, especially Jennifer. She works really hard and works very well with your management team. And anything that we can do in the future to help, we would love to continue the relationship.
You talked about the gas up above there. Well, those all sound like major changes at a board. How does that trickle down to Jennifer, the accountant, or a bookkeeper?
So this particular GASB doesn't actually impact Jennifer at all because it's such a high level. It's no one in that. That's kind of the weird thing about some of these GASBs. Even the compensated absences GASB, Jennifer was able to work through the calculation from a concept perspective. But there's some management decisions that have to be made. There's some expertise that we have to employ when we're making some of the assumptions on how much time Hank is likely to take of that 100 hours through the rest of his employment. That's something that normally a payroll manager in a larger organization, a department head, a director like myself, you need a little bit more experience to be able to come up with those assumptions, particularly because your auditors have to sign off on those. There has to be a reasonable basis. So they don't always impact Jennifer, they impact Noah and I more because implementing a new GASB is just, it's a lift. I'm not too worried about these two. I present at conferences across the country, and GASB 103 is one that I'm called to do quite often. So I can, at this point, I've been presenting on it for 2 years. I can do it in my sleep. However, after this, in fact, it's just about to go before the GASB board for approval. Phase 2 of this financial reporting model improvement, phase 2 is about to be approved. That is going to have significant changes to things like revenue recognition. it will impact the numbers and it will become more complex. So while she'll be able to work through it, there's going to be a heavy involvement from us to make sure it's done correctly, because we want to keep that unmodified opinion for your auditors.
Kelly, that looks like a really good report as far as our income, the FPV's income. I mean, it looks like we're doing very well profit wise. So my question is, given that it's looking very good, can you predict that, maybe you can't, but that there would not be a need for any increases in water rates in the near future? Because it looks like we're profit wise, we're doing very well.
It's a really good question. So a couple things I want to point out. When we talk about water revenue, remember, we have fee increases, we have connection increases, we have changes that happen all the time, right? We also have consumption changes. So we could have 0 new end users, 0 increase in fees, and water can go up because consumption may have increased. So water revenue is kind of one of those oddballs that has a lot of variables in it. Your operating expenses are the other side of it. While net income is positive, right? We have 530,000 positive. A big part of that was because we reduced expenses. Your internal team really paid attention to the budget and really came to the table and said, hey, we're not going to overspend just because we have the authority to do it. The challenge with your rates is that they are not only structured to anticipate operating cost increases, they are also structured to anticipate capital needs. So the real key to answer that question is whether or not the district is going to need some capital investment in the next 5 to 10 years. And from previous meetings that I have been in, I believe that answer is likely.
That you would think that water rates would go up? You're
Because-
saying yes?
Likely because you're gonna need to pay for capital improvement. And I'm not saying next year, but infrastructure expansion is always something that we think about for a utility. And we pay for those improvements, right? So we can easily take a look and say, is water, and I don't have the full scope of this in the slide, but we can easily take a look and say, is water covering our operating costs? And we tickle pink that it is. But it doesn't mean that those water revenues are covering our capital reinvestment. Because you're and get a little technical, you're a full organization, which means your capital expenses are not sitting here. We capitalize those, we report them as a fixed asset, and only a portion of those expenses sit here at depreciation. So we can certainly take a closer look. That's a fabulous question. And I think it's certainly worth a moment to look at it, and I'm happy to work with Hank on that. But it really depends on what your capital plan is in the next 5 or so years. And whether or not those projects get done, if there's extraordinary maintenance that has to be done. In my opinion, and I've managed a public utility, I've been the CFO for a public utility. In my opinion, great shelving.
Because I mean, there could be grants as well that could come in that would.
But grants can never,
Oh, the operating.
almost never,
Oh.
not for a public utility. Because a public utility is technically, while it's still, still a government agency, it's still not supposed to be a for-profit, technically it is intended to operate in a profitable state. Because it is intended to bank the excess for the capital needs. So in my opinion, rates should always increase. Now, the goal is to have those increases be nice and steady and tolerable. So that for the average user, they're increasing with salary increases and they're increasing with CPI. And it's not I have one agency down in SoCal, they're gonna increase by 15%.
I know that, I hear that we pay more for water up here than down in the lower area, like where my daughter lives.
I
I
can see
don't
that.
understand that.
Transmission costs a heck of a lot more to pump it up a mountain.
No, but we're going down the mountain.
Well, not always. It costs the transmission in a mountain agency
Mhm.
always costs more. Your retention, your storage will usually cost more. Your water table isn't the same. In a flatland, you have a water table. In a mountain, you don't. There's a lot of differences that happen in a water utility that are very different from an electric utility and a sewer utility. And when we think of water rates, we have to also dissect what is built into our water rate. We have the consumption, right? The volumetric rate,
Mhm.
which is purely based upon how much we consume. It's a rate times amount of consumption equals our bill. But some agencies have special charges. Some agencies build in San Diego, it's an infrastructure access charge or a capacity charge. The infrastructure access charge is meant to create some of that funding for capital improvement. The capacity charge is meant to build revenues to be able to create additional water storage. So that organization may have higher bills than a neighboring organization who maybe isn't charging for that. They're charging more of just the volumetric.
Okay.
You have to take a look at your daughter's bill and really compare what's in it and maybe even go onto that organization's website. Most websites really do tell you how the bill, what it's made up of. My home base is Houston, Texas, and I am surrounded by a river system. I pay the San Jacinto River Conservancy a crazy amount of money. The district that I participate in has no control. I have to pay it no matter what. So every organization is different, everyone's structure is different, and everyone's needs are different, just based on how.
Can I also ask you, that in the past, when we had a finance director, he did the budget and it's in our policy not the policy. He used to do the budget and for 10 years, he's always done it with the assistance of Hank. And then he presents it. And I was wondering why that you didn't take the lead like our old finance manager. He passed away, And why that you're not doing the budget and with Hank's assistant. In other words, right now it's in reverse. And I wondered why that was. Why aren't you doing the budget for us?
I don't know if there's any particular reason. We prepare a lot of budgets
Oh, you
for a
do
lot of
do it.
organizations. Oh, and myself
Yeah.
and my team,
Mhm.
most of us come from local government. So I've managed a public utility, for SoCal, it's a small public utility with 13,000 consumers.
So you don't know why that it's.
I suspect it's maybe high that's used, and it's, if I can make an assumption, it's probably a better question for Hank, but because Hank is more knowledgeable about the district's budget and can produce it quicker, which saves the district money.
Real quick too, just so we're not getting too off topic, just so we're kind of concentrating on this. That was a big question. Appreciate that. So if we just get circle back around into.
Well, I think she's finished, I think.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that answer. You had some really good answers. Well, that's pretty good.
I figured that might have been what led to the question on budget. Public utility is one of my passions. It started when I was a baby auditor. I used to audit the San Diego County Water Authority.
All the way from Texas.
No, I'm actually from California.
That's no accent.
So it created a passion for water way back in the day. So that became a specialty of mine.
So Kelly, I can say, yes, it is because I know more about the day-to-day operations. I know what to expect in next year's expenses. And also that's how we were 6.7% decrease in annual, not just farming it out and let other people do it. I do it. It's a considerable amount of work. And I think I have more knowledge because I know the day-to-day. And that's how we come in reducing our expenses. Just efforts like that from all of our staff.
So also our board policy, one more question, this is it, I promise.
No.
So one more question is that in our board policy, our credit cards are supposed to be looked over by the finance manager, which we would consider you the finance manager, right? So are you looking and how do you go about doing that? Do you get the original not the statements, but you know, when you charge something, you get a receipt. Do you get those receipts and look at them to see if all of it's correct according to the statement that comes out for Wells Fargo, for example?
So a lot of that is handled internally, by your team. And really that's, again, cost savings, for us to chase after the receipts. They compile everything together, pulling the receipts to match the bank statement or the credit card statement. We see all of that. We're not auditing it, but we are reviewing it. Your auditors are pulling samples of that and they are actually testing the compliance. Is every single charge in that sample that they selected, is every single charge accounted for with a receipt? Is it a detailed receipt? Meaning you can see every single little number
Yeah.
instead of just the credit card
Mhm.
split, that's a more summarized receipt.
Yeah.
So we are not preparing it, we are not, it's a pretty labor intensive process for your team. But we are seeing it, reviewing it, and your auditors are testing it as well.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Is that all you have, Kelly?
That is all I have, if there's some more questions.
We'll start at Jonathan. Roger? You got any questions? Mark?
So I'm good.
Okay. Ron?
Good presentation.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Always happy to answer.
Yeah, you can tell you've done this a time or two.
I'm telling you, I really do enjoy water, but I've been working with y'all for a while, so I do know your age.
When you drive home, be careful. I'm animal moving.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I live in the rural outside of Houston, so we see a deer or two on the side of the road where I'm at, so.
Especially about 5 miles outside of town is when it gets really hairy, so just one ran on the side of my wife's car, just.
I drove by one lady, hit a bear.
Okay, that's different than a deer.
Okay.
Tell you when you come in.
So
Yeah.
with that said,
So I'll make a motion that we receive and file the annual financial report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025.
and I'll second that motion. Any public comment?
Looks like a very good report.
Yep.
It does.
Think any public comment online?
None.
None. All right, coming back. Any further discussion?
No,
All right, can I get a roll call vote?
Maybe. Vice President Bell,
Yes.
Treasurer Pruitt. Yes. Director Thompson,
Yes,
Director Foster,
yes.
President Dowden,
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on to our board member action items. Review and consider action regarding proposals for finance manager services, including selection of a proposal or extension of the response period. Recommended action, discuss the proposals received for finance manager services and approve a proposal or extend the response period to allow additional submissions. So did everybody get a chance to look at that? And I guess I'll just comment on this. For me personally, I don't feel like we got a very good response from our advertisement that we had out there. We've had 4 firms contact us and 1 personal. One person was not a firm, I should say. We've received yours as well, Kelly, thank you very much. So with that
one local
said,
person,
what's that?
one local person, lives in Fort Pierce.
Yeah. But with that said, I don't feel like it was a good enough response, and when we first put this out there, we did it, on all the free sites, if you remember right.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right.
but I don't think in my personal view that, that was good enough, so we
I agree.
probably need to go to some paid sites. That's just my opinion. I'd like to get, Mark, what's your opinion?
Well, so I think the board's been working on stuff with the finance manager for what? 5 months, 8 months? That's a long time. I really like to get this to the end. We had a chance. In fact, we were even encouraged at that meeting to go to other sites that were a little bit better, but we decided to not go with this. While we could extend it, our original discussion on extension, of which we didn't get any replies, we've gotten 4, 5. I think we owe those a review and look. I mean, not just because we don't have enough, we've got some, they should be reviewed.
Roger?
No.
Okay.
Well, we haven't had it out there that long. We haven't had it out there for months. And we did have a very short period of time that we publicized it. I agree with you. And I would like to see it publicized, and pay some money. Hank put out, for the, operator, he put it in the Auburn Journal for $252. The Forest Hill Messenger, 110, BC Water Jobs, 200, California Water Jobs. Anyway, my point is that they put out a lot Hank's put out a lot for the operation. I'd like to see us put out more, and pay some money to put it out to other facilities, like, for example, the special districts, California special, that would.
TSDA.
Yeah, I know they charge. I thought it was free, and I take back what I said because I thought it was free, but there is something that's free, but
Mhm.
not that.
Mhm.
And I think that's a good place to post as well. I think we should extend the time. 3 weeks is not very long.
Ron?
Not yet,
Okay.
not this time.
Okay.
What does that mean? I don't know what you meant, but what did he mean by that?
He said no, he doesn't have a comment at this time.
Oh, okay. Okay.
With that said, I will just throw it out there so we're not wasting any time. I'd like to make a motion to extend the, the response period, for through January, so, let's see. Okay, let me get this right.
Maybe for another month, maybe, something like that.
Well, if we're really looking at it,
Mhm.
right?
Do have a comment now.
Well, I'm right in the middle of a
Well,
darn
I
motion,
would-
Ron. Just give me a minute.
you need more than 1 month.
Well, that's what I'm
Put it
saying.
on for 6 months and we can wait for it.
Would you just give me a second? I'm right in the middle of a motion.
That's expensive.
Okay, so,
It's not happening.
I'll make a motion to extend the response period to, January 30th of 2026. And, you do need to put it out in, the CSDA, the Auburn Journal, and the Forest Hill Messenger.
Mhm. And also to continue with Indeed too.
And continue with,
Yeah.
the sources that we already have.
Yes.
I agree with that. Can you read that back to me,
Oh,
Hank? Just so we have it. Yeah, just give it a second. Just so you know what you're seconding.
yeah, okay.
Extend the response period to January 30th, 2026, and list on CSDA, Auburn Journal, Messenger, and Indeed.
In addition, is it Indeed the only one that we had last time?
No, it was MMAN something.
In addition to the ones we've already.
Yeah, the Indeed, and then the other one was the initials. Sue would know.
MMANC.
MMANC.
Thank you. Thank you.
Already a
It's a
feather in our
government
cap.
organization.
Thank you.
So, all right,
Oh, I second that.
okay. Public comment. All right, coming back, any further comment? No? Ron? All right, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Vice President Bell,
No,
Treasurer Pruitt,
Yes.
Director Thompson,
Yes.
Director Foster,
Yes.
President Dowling.
Yes. Motion carries.
I'm sorry, motion carries 4-1.
Thanks, Hank. All right, moving along. Board member, policy action item, consider and possible adoption of new board policy 5025. Agenda format items, submittal and processing procedure. This was, my item, but I would like to table it to January's meeting, just because after I submitted what is in the, agenda packet, I kind of started going back and reworking it just to kind of make it better for this meeting, and it changed significant. So, what I would like to see from it, I'm not really good with it in the agenda, so. And I don't want anybody, because if I were to walk you through each one of the changes that I did, it'd take forever. So I'd rather just bring it back in January.
Well, we'll work with what you got.
Yeah, you don't wanna work with what I got. So moving that, item number 2, consider revised job description for the customer service representative. 1 position and consider staff recommendations. I think that would be. Thank you, Kelly. Really good presentation. I appreciate it.
All of you.
So page 120 is the staff report. Page 121 is the existing customer service reps 1. Page 124 is a revised customer service rep 1. And then there is a memo regarding the location of job descriptions in the board policy, or consideration of the board, or for the board to consider having those be administrative documents in a policy handbook. And it's up for your discussion.
All right, starting with Roger, you got anything to? Okay, Mark?
So I'm sorry, we're gonna talk about this job, what are we talking about, the job description?
Yeah, it was the,
Specifically, or
from
just-
the last meeting, well, I guess there's all, I
We're
kind of,
discussing the revisions.
yeah, the revision and possible, well, let's just discuss the revisions first, and then we can talk about the possible movement of it to it.
Well, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the,
The revisions,
job description.
yeah,
Do you know what the revisions are?
he stated it, but now I can't
Who
find
did,
it.
who did?
Uh,
Oh, Mark, Hank?
Hank, yeah,
Oh, can I hear it again then? Because I didn't hear that.
or I thought did you?
120, page 124 of your packet is a draft revised customer service rep 1.
But there was distinct, what the heck was it? There was a distinct thing that you revised.
Okay,
And,
I
I
can,
rewrote the whole thing.
oh, you rewrote the whole thing, okay.
Yes.
I thought it was just one portion of it.
okay, can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, the whole thing wasn't rewritten, by the way. I went through every single word and compared it to what existed and what the revision was, and it was almost very little revised.
Mhm.
And so the revision was, that underneath, supervision received, that's the, on the first page. They added, Hank added, administrative assistant. In other words, which makes sense, I like that, I mean, I'm good with that. And what was removed was general manager and rep 2. So in other words, Amber would be in charge, which makes sense to me, because she's the administrative assistant. So that's one change. And then another addition was, and it's a bullet point, that's the 3rd from the bottom. That was added, attend training to stay current in technological changes, I guess. I don't know how I feel about that one. And then, on the other side, first bullet point, was deleted, Hank deleted ordering of office supplies. And that was deleted, and so I guess my question is, who does order them? If the clerk isn't ordering them, who does? I guess that's my question, but that was eliminated. At the clerk number 1 was ordering office supplies, at least that's how the original policy was. And so I guess, like I say, it was deleted, but I'd like to know who orders them now. You know, well, Hank, who orders them now?
It's a team effort. And so they're ordered by, generally through the administrative assistant. But it just depends on what it is. It's a day-to-day, it's really not a board level, long range looking thing. It's, we need supplies, we figure out how to get it done.
Well, it seems like that you could have left that in there, because it sounds like, and everybody has that responsibility, probably could have left that in. And the last the last change is underneath experience and education, and it's the 3rd bullet point. And what was added was, and I don't agree with this, the level of course that the experience should be college level coursework in accounting, computer operations, and consumer service desirable. I can't see that. I don't know, it just seems to me that this is a entry level job and that a person should be able to learn their skill, get hired and learn some skills or, and obviously I'm in a high school, uh, uh,
Education.
yeah, education, but I don't like that part. Requiring the person in the, number one clerk to be required to have accounting skills and stuff. I mean, I don't want that.
Well, it doesn't say it's not required, it's
Well,
desirable.
experience and education, I don't know, that's the way I read it, that this is what they want. This is what the, Hank wants. So I don't like that part. So everything was, okay, so the other thing I wanna say is, I don't want to approve this yet, and here's my position on this. This is really not a big change from the original, that's okay, but I would like to see, what's her name, the one that is a clerk one, I'd like to see her, is she here? Is she not here today?
I think you should go in the office and introduce yourself.
No, I think she should come.
No, I think you should go and get a drink.
Hey, hey.
and
I
know
think
the
she
people.
should come in at the meeting
Yeah.
and all of them, Amber. And we could meet them, and then they tell us what they do. Because to be honest with you, and I mentioned this before, that there's been so much outsourcing of everything at the FPUD that this has got to change. And I can't be exactly the same as it was in 2013. So I would like to have Amber, not Amber, what's her, not Amber.
Angela.
Angela come in at one point and tell us what she does. I'd like to know. And then have each, the clerk too, do the same at maybe at some other month, and Amber also. And tell us what they do, go through with their daily, let's say a daily, typical day. And then I can look at this and say, yeah, that's works, it looks right. That's what I'd like to see.
Ron?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Well, my position on it is, this is more, a management position. The general manager takes care of this. This should be more in a handbook rather than in our policy. With that said, for now, just to make things a little simpler,
I thought we were talking only about the job description, not about the next part.
yeah, no, I'm just talking about just the job description.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I'm just making a statement, but, what I would like to do, just because, it's simple enough and I don't think I'm just gonna make a motion to, approve the, changes as amended by Hank.
I'll second.
Second. Any public comment? Nope, coming back. Any
We have
further-
a public comment.
Oh, there's one on the,
Mhm.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I was
Oh,
trying to
geez,
raise
that's
my
loud.
hand. Can you hear me?
yeah, it was really loud there for a second when you first came on.
Oh, I'm
Sorry.
sorry.
No, you're not your
Um,
fault, that's our fault.
I was trying to raise my hand, operator error, on the last matter. I was hoping against hope that you guys would add LinkedIn. That's an excellent source, and I think that you'd get a really good response. It's better than Indeed. It's called LinkedIn.
Did you have anything?
So
to
I'm
comment?
hoping you'll consider it. I know it's not the right time because I couldn't raise my hand. But yeah, that's a really, really good site. If you're looking for a response, I wish you'd consider that one as well.
Perfect, thanks, Sue. Do you have anything to comment on this one?
Oops, I hit, I,
Give me just a second, Sue, you're muted. She back?
not yet.
Not yet.
Oops, I clicked the wrong. I clicked the wrong. it should be going across to her now.
No, yeah, you
Oh,
cut
you're
me
back
off.
now.
but
Okay,
It's
you're back
okay.
now.
It's okay. I just wanted to add that I had no comment on this, on the, on the job description, just on, please post it on LinkedIn.
Thanks, Sue.
And that's all.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Further comment, Ron, you said you had one?
Yeah, what is the purpose of changing these couple of sentences?
So we asked Hank at the last meeting to go through the,
Yeah, but why are we
so
just adding
this is his, yeah, obviously he thinks like this fits better, need to be edited a little bit. Hank, what was the purpose of adding those few spots then?
The board directed staff to revise the job descriptions.
Right, and what was your reasoning for revising those spots, just
Or just updated.
updated?
What was there?
Yeah.
I have no purpose for the business to update them. The job descriptions are good,
Yeah.
as they are.
so
When I look at these during recruitments and so on and so forth, as there's something that needs to be changed, then I will change them then, we'll bring them to the board for approval because they are a board policy. But, no, the only reason to change this was the board asked me to do it at the last meeting.
All right. Any other comment? Nope, roll call vote, please.
Vice President Bell,
Yes,
Treasurer Pruitt,
yes,
Director Thompson,
yes,
Director Foster,
No,
and President Dowling.
Yes.
The motion carries 4-1.
Moving along,
so,
and this is now we're into yours, Diane, that,
well, yeah, but we went to, we talked about once a month though, that Hank would be doing a revision, remember?
yeah, that would,
So are we going to have him do another?
it would be, because we asked him to do one
A
a
month,
month.
yeah.
That's what we voted on, so that, he should be bringing one next month then.
Okay, which will be, okay, well, so he knows that?
That would, we voted on it, so Hank, do you know that? And we can also put it on, we can talk about it in, discussion in future agenda items, I would think.
Okay,
there were 2 items in this, not for any 2 for second item.
Well, it was, we could vote on that or move it to the handbook, I thought it was one or the other, or we could do both. Oh. Well then, I lost my train of thought here. Consider staff recommendation. Select packet. And consider staff recommendation. So do you have a? Are you gonna consider moving it to the whole? Employee policy to a employee handbook instead of out and move it out of board policy?
I was looking for us to discuss this.
Okay,
You know, if we wanna go further, okay, sure. And looking through there, being in other companies where these kinds of policies are, they aren't in the board policy manual. They are in a HR manual or something like that, so that belongs to staff and not the board. So yeah, I'll move that we accept his recommendation and have job descriptions removed from the board policy manual.
and then put into an employee handbook?
Put into an employee handbook or other such handbook that Hank may already have existing.
Okay,
I object to that. That's just deteriorates your transparency, so that we will never see it. Never. Why shouldn't the public see what the job description is on our board policy? There's no reason to not see it. There's nothing to hide on here. And then also the board can look at it and maybe, kind of monitor, make sure that things are followed.
also give me just a second here, Diane, do we have a second? No second, okay,
Motion done.
motion dies,
Okay.
alright. Now. Although I don't disagree with your sentiment necessarily, I just don't think right now is the perfect time for that, we're not gonna get into that. So,
I have a question, Chase.
yes,
Isn't the employee book available to anybody?
Sure it is.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I don't think it's on the website necessarily, but I'm sure it's been.
Well, what is an employee? I don't even know anything.
Employee handbook.
I don't know anything about that.
You know, that's a good question. Hank, I've never actually seen one either because it's not necessarily. It's not necessarily our job, but I don't really want to get too deep into that tonight.
Okay.
Okay,
Actually, what Patty is essentially saying is that, yeah, if somebody wants to come in, they can look at the policy
Mhm.
and see what that job
well,
description.
yeah,
before they-
or look
I
at
don't think that should be taken out and hit,
Wait, hidden, I don't think so.
no, it should stay right where it is, policy.
So back to that, discussion on,
Oh, 2000.
revision to policy 2000.
Well, because we were so busy that I didn't get a chance to find the document, so I have to postpone it till next month,
Okay,
okay?
okay, that sounds good. So we will push that. And then, as far as discussion items goes, the CSDA they are not coming either, correct, Hank?
Correct.
That is correct, okay. And general managers report.
General manager report is in your, packet. Safety meeting on November 8th. We discussed winter slip strips and falls. And then there's a listing of the bookkeeping, and accounting services provided by LSL, for the month of July 2025.
Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
That's all he's got.
How's the equipment going?
Equipment's going good.
Good. All right, remarks and reports by directors. Let's start with Roger, you got anything? You've been out for a little while. How you feeling, buddy?
I've been better, but I'm here.
That's good. Good to see you.
Got a haircut?
I've done a lot of.
Yeah,
That was the first big feat that I did was actually walked into the barber and sat down in the chair and got a cut.
and then when was that?
Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're moving along then?
Yeah, so it's been a month since the surgery and I went to physical therapy today and talked to the physical therapist. He said it's gonna be, with as many surgeries as I've had and everything, it's gonna be about a year-long process to get maybe back to about 80%. We're on the right track.
Well, good to have you back.
And I'm glad to be here. Glad to see everybody.
How was the infection?
That's it.
That's the big one.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a report there. I attended a CSDA webinar on doing general manager employee evaluations. So it was a very good class. Had some really good concepts in there. I was kind of looking forward to the people from the CSDA coming because part of that training that was in there was on governance best practices, and it's something that I think the board probably does need. That's it.
Okay.
Underneath, I got an email, after the last board meeting from, Tony Rodarte.
Mhm.
Not sure I pronounced his name
You
correctly.
did good, actually, yeah.
What's that?
Redarty, yeah.
Oh, I did that right,
Yeah.
okay, cause I don't know him. Anyway, his background is he's worked with the forestry, I learned. But anyway, he was, very happy, he supported my position on, not having an extension of radial gates and raising the dam. But he also, then he came back and sent both of us a letter, and I just wanna read a little bit of it. Hello Chase, I'm reaching out to you, and he sent me a copy, but I also got another letter from him as well. Reaching out, in regards to the most recent Forest Hill PUD Board of Directors meeting, November 12th. I watched the video of the meeting and was very interested in the discussion relating to the Sugar Pine radial gate installation and expansion, increasing the water level in Sugar Pine Reservoir. The information board member Diane Foster presented, I agree with completely. Her information is solid and supported by her contact with the water board she referenced. Rather than me explain my position in this memo, I'm attaching two documents I submitted to the Forest Hill Supervisor, Tahoe National Forestry in 2016 and again in 2021, opposing the project. During the board meeting, you suggested that you would like to gain more information from someone knowledgeable and relevant to the issues. I quite frankly believe that would be a waste of the board's time. I suggest that you take the time to read the DEIS, that would be the environmental report. And if you are interested in hearing from an informed specialist, please contact the previous PUD manager, Kurt Reed. He and I have had several conversations during his appointment with PUD and my service with the Forest Service. He maintained that there is plenty of water at Sugar Pine Reservoir to sustain the Forest Hill community during, looking into the future. The project did not make sense almost a decade ago and makes even less sense now. Thank you for your time and consideration, Tony Rodardi. And I thought that was very nice. This is from the public. So, he is against the, extending the 49-year extension to raise the water, the dam.
I'm sorry, Dad, I didn't hear that.
Oh, you didn't hear what? I'm sorry. Well, I didn't hear what he said. What
No,
he said.
not a big deal. It's just comments and reports.
Yep, that's fine. Oh. Okay.
Ron, do you have anything?
Oh, I have a lot.
Jeez. We're almost through, Ron.
I know, I'm done.
You're, what, that's it?
Oh, I have nothing else to talk about. We wanna talk about the radio gigs, I can go on.
No, we're not gonna do that. We haven't even Christmas. All right, I also talked to Tony, Tony's a good friend of mine,
Oh,
and,
I had never met him.
yeah, no, very good human being, him and his wife,
Oh, okay.
they're very good stewards of the community,
Mhm.
and, you might wanna actually have a conversation with him yourself.
Well, yeah, I eventually will. You mean about what, the Sugar Pine or?
Well, just in general, he's a very good,
Yeah, I was planning on it actually.
that's good. All right, future agenda items are to help the general manager and board president craft the next month's agenda unless otherwise voted upon. Future agenda will comprise of no more than one new board member action item and no more than one new policy action item. Now is the time to discuss which items the board would like to see first to help prioritize efficiency. I believe we don't have any future items there, but we did, push 5025 and, policy 2000, to the next meeting. So, there's nothing to discuss there.
You know what, I was thinking we were gonna talk about the board secretary thing, but I guess that's not.
Oh, no, well, it's still,
But I'm concerned about this. I am really concerned.
yeah, well, then we can go back to remarks and reports by director.
Okay, okay.
If you wanna do it, we can do it underneath that, because that was weird, because there's nothing to discuss under future agenda items.
Okay,
So
okay, so
that'd be the time to think about it.
okay, I'm Hankin, the messenger, the board secretary position was posted. However, it says that it also is labeled as a customer service rep, and it's not. And then also it says that this position would prepare agendas and board packets, and that's not what we agreed to.
So if the board agreed to was to create the position would be under my supervision.
No,
Um,
we agreed that it would be under the board
so
supervision.
you don't remember that discussion?
Yeah, I do.
That's actually,
Interesting.
we said, because we were saying, do we want to do it this way, or we can just have Hank create a position?
Really?
That's what we said. And,
I wouldn't have voted for that. Because I thought that you were in charge of this.
well, see, the thing about board secretary, you can always have the general manager and board president goes over with the board secretary on forming the agendas and things of that nature. But instead of trying to put out the RFP like we were doing with finance manager and all that, we said, hey, why don't we just have Hank create a position? And we'll do it that way for board secretary. Now,
I thought he was just gonna post it, that's all. That was my understanding.
no, that wasn't my understanding anyways. That was, my understanding was we would have Hank create a position.
And what's the point of having a position? It was
Because-
to get him away from this
Well,
position.
he's away from it. He's not doing it anymore. If we hire this position, that would be the thing.
What, but it says here, customer service rep, it makes it sound like this.
So
person-
now I did ask for that because for me, board secretary, why is it more than that? And he said, well, if you can find somebody that can do other stuff when we need them to, you might as well. And I don't disagree with that. When we have, when we're short in the office, if they can come in and help, it's not a bad thing.
You have two people that are part-time. If you're short in the office, you could pay them overtime for a little bit of hours. Why would you need this? You're defeating the whole purpose of what we wanted to do to create this position. You're giving it back to Hank. You're putting it back there with this woman in the office. She's supposed to be an independent employee, independent of the FPUD. She's supposed to work for the board. And she is not somebody, a customer service rep. We already have two. We already have two of those in the office. And it prepares agendas? No, that's not what the job description was that was posted. That she wasn't doing, preparing agendas and board packets.
Chase, Diane, this is a director, we have this under this director discussion item. It's not for us to discuss, it's for the director to come by and say, here's what I did or where I want.
But this is the
But not for us for
newspaper.
discussion.
It's in the newspaper. It's inaccurate.
I was trying to say, I think we're done.
You're saying this is accurate? You're telling me you're okay with this?
I'm okay with it, yes.
Gosh, then I'm opposed to hiring a secretary, but you're defeating the whole purpose of what we planned. You backed off and you've added stuff that we didn't agree to. The board did not agree to this.
Yes, Ron.
Yes, we did.
And to back up what she's saying and back up what you're saying, this was recorded in public,
Yes,
because I can go back.
it's on the thing. We want to go back, but I mean,
And that was what? That was last
that was
month?
just last month, yeah, so it's not a hard thing to find.
No, I understand.
Yeah, it should be, and actually,
That's what I'm saying. If what you're saying
yeah,
is on video.
it should be even in our minutes.
And what month would that be?
Just the last November's meeting. And if I'm wrong on that, Diane, but that's, from my understanding, that's my recollection. If I'm wrong on that, I'm happy to.
When you created this, it was a great idea, and it's morphed into something different now. You realize that?
I don't believe so,
Yeah.
but that's my opinion. You can have a different opinion, that's okay.
So Chase, if we're really gonna discuss it, I'd like to point out that in the minutes, it says, President Dowling made a motion to create an official position entitled Board Secretary and to post the position by November 21st. The motion was seconded by Director Foster and carried unanimously. So we all voted for creating a position,
Yes, absolutely.
and that's what he's done.
No.
Created a position. When we, as a board, created a position,
Hold on.
No wonder people leave this position.
we created a position.
So if we're advertising right now, we want to hire another class one.
Clerk, yeah, he does.
This is this board secretary?
Board secretary.
That's what we're talking about, hiring another one, or we change?
Hiring a board secretary, not another one, we don't have.
And
Well, it's not
maybe,
gonna be board secretary, it's gonna be
clerk
another.
in the office. That's what, and that's not what we agreed to in the beginning. That's not.
So in
My information was when you started this in February or March,
Mhm.
that it was a board secretary and they would be responsible for minutes,
Yes.
period.
So that's in
It wasn't
February,
just work
that's what it
itself.
was, yes, but then, and if you guys remember, we talked about like, maybe having Amber come up and do the minutes too, right? Because it's in
Yes.
a job description.
Temporarily until we hire this.
So
person.
my thing was, well, if we're gonna do that, and this is what I discussed last week, why don't we just have Hank create another position? And it would be easier, and he can put it out there, and we can get one, we don't have to go through the whole RFP process, remember, because I had the RFP
He was
ready.
supposed to post it. That's what my understanding was. He posted for us.
See, and my understanding was that he was gonna create the position for it, so maybe we talked past each other there, and that was my understanding of it.
Not mine.
Cause I had the RFP already ready for it and everything else like that, and then I said, you know what, the heck with that, let's just have him create a position. So that might have been a little bit of miscommunication on our part, but we can go back and look at that.
All right.
But that was my understanding.
Well, let's look at it because my understanding from that meeting was that he would do the posting for us. That was my understanding. But then I don't ever remember saying that we're going to make this person a customer service rep and do the agendas and board packets. We never discussed that.
Chase, can we move on, please? We've gone through those same topics 3 times.
We'll look back into it then.
Okay.
You were talking about $250 a meeting.
Yeah.
That is not an assistant in the office.
But like I said,
I move we adjourn.
Well, you did. Yes.
so with that, there's no future agenda items.
Well, I guess there is because we don't have to go and revisit this issue. Because I wouldn't agree to this. Prove it. I mean, not that my vote means a whole lot.
So with that, because that will actually,
Come back.
that process will have ended by that time. So, and actually, I don't know,
You have to prove that to me.
what's that? Yeah, we'll have to see, we'll have to go back, because that was my understanding of it, but I could have been, it's been a month since that, I've slept since, so I'll have to go back through it.
Okay, but then once that I look at it, cause I'll watch it again, can we revisit it next month, put it on the agenda?
I'll have to see, because,
Well, I'll put it on the agenda.
yeah, we'll have to see.
I'll just I'll just read it, listen to it and go from there.
Got it. All right. With that, meeting adjourned. At 7:15.
It's a whole extra packet, I guess.
Oh, what the hell, why do I got that something?
Right, see, you have an extra packet. Oh, that.
Okay.